Anyone who subscribes to this channel will know that I have now done videos on the best goalkeepers at every age, the best defenders at every age, and the best midfielders at every age. Those of you who are experts in sequencing may have known what was on the horizon then, and as expected, today's video is the turn of some of the world's finest forwards. Personally, I found this the toughest of the 4 videos to make, but I think it's also the most interesting. I've no doubt that you'll disagree with me at some stages, but that's all part of the fun. I will give a quick word to some honourable mentions in many cases, so without further ado, here are the best forwards in world football at every age from 16 to 40. 16. RENYER. If this short series has shown one thing, it may be that there aren't many 16-year-olds who are getting regular game time. Brazilian wonderkid RENYER Luanda Oliveira Damasceno, better known simply as RENYER, is another who falls into that basket, but this is a boy who scouts and coaches in Brazil are incredibly excited about. The Santos Academy is among the most prestigious in world football, and RENYER is another in a long line of sensationally gifted youngsters. A right winger whose dribbling ability has already caught the eye of some of Europe's top clubs, RENYER has only played 3 games for Santos' first team to date, but his name is one to look out for. 17. ANSU FATI. Forwards tend to break through younger than players in any other position, and at the age of 17, we already have a name that will be familiar to most football fans by now. ANSU FATI made his Barcelona debut back in August, aged only 16, becoming the club's youngest debutant since the 1940s. Quick, clever, and intricate on the ball, FATI can play through the middle or out wide on either flank, and his extraordinary potential is among the worst kept secrets in football. At the age of 17, the Guinea-Bissau-born Spanish youth international has already scored 5 goals from 24 first-team appearances for one of the biggest clubs in world football. 18. Gabriel Martinelli. Despite the fact that we are so early on in this video, I have a sneaking suspicion that age 18 may be the most debated inclusion in the comments. That is because the 2 leading candidates play for 2 rival Premier League clubs, namely Manchester United prodigy Mason Greenwood and Arsenal prospect Gabriel Martinelli. Although both have played limited amounts of football, both have given real reasons to be optimistic about their potential. Greenwood is an electric, sharp-eyed goalscorer who can strike a ball with either foot. Martinelli is also quick, perhaps not as ruthless in front of goal, but is seemingly more gifted on the ball. The duo have played similar amounts of football this season and have scored a similar number of goals. Greenwood excites me a lot, and I think he has the potential to become a really prolific scorer, but Martinelli just shades it for me as the more complete player, and I think we could see a really big season from him whenever football returns. 19. ERLING HAALAND. At the start of this season, it would have been a tough call between then RB Salzburg striker Erling Haaland, Real Madrid prospect Rodrigo, and young Chelsea wireman Callum Hudson-Odoi. A remarkable 40 goals from just 33 games at Haaland this season makes it a no-brainer at 19 though, and those numbers really are absolutely wild. Born in Leeds, Haaland is a big strong boy with sensational movement, a decent right foot, and a stunning left peg. Signed by Borussia Dortmund in January for €20 million, that already looks like one of the deals of the century, and Haaland has bagged 12 goals in 11 games since arriving in the Bundesliga. 20. JADON SANCHO. Staying in the Bundesliga for now, it's an equally easy decision at the age of 20. JADON SANCHO took a brave decision to leave Manchester City for Borussia Dortmund at the age of 17, giving up a life of ease at a club that rated him highly in favour of adjusting to a new language and culture in order to get increased game time. His first season was one that saw Sancho take time to settle in, but for the last season and a half, he has been among the best players in the Bundesliga, and some may argue in the world. One thing is for sure, I can think of few players who are as good on the ball and as adept at beating players as Sancho, and his phenomenal numbers, in terms of both goals and assists, show that he has no lack of end product. 21. Kylian Mbappe. It's wild to note that at the age of 21, having joined the club following 2 seasons at Monaco, Kylian Mbappe is already the 7th highest scorer in the history of Paris Saint-Germain. A tally of 90 goals in 120 games has taken him to that position, ahead of the likes of George Weah and David Ginola. A Champions League and Ligue 1 Team of the Year inclusion at the age of 18, and a 2-time Ballon d'Or nominee and a World Cup winner at 19, Mbappe was the finest teenage footballer of the last 10 years, as far as I'm concerned. Lightning quick, good on the ball, and so direct, Mbappe is averaging a goal a game at PSG, and he could still get even better. 22. Marcus Rashford. For my money, the toughest decision in this entire video, it's a choice between Ousmane Dembele, Lautaro Martinez, and Marcus Rashford at the age of 22. Dembele is the most talented, as far as I'm concerned, but he hasn't had a good time with injuries, and there's no telling how good he'll be once he recovers from his latest setback. Lautaro Martinez has had an exceptional season at Inter Milan, bagging 16 goals, but Marcus Rashford has arguably been even more impressive at Manchester United. Leading the United scoring charts, despite having been injured for a little while, Rashford has bagged 19 goals this season, with 14 league goals, putting him 6th in the Premier League scoring charts, despite the fact that he has played most of his football out on the left flank. It's a tough call, and I wouldn't argue with anyone who went with either Dembele or Martinez instead. 23. Gabriel Jesus. It is a shame for Gabriel Jesus that he plays for a club that tends to only play with one centre forward, and that he has Sergio Aguero for competition. At almost any other club, Jesus would be a regular starter, but even with Aguero for competition, the Brazilian has still bagged 63 goals in 138 games since arriving at the Etihad as a 19-year-old. That's not far off a goal every other game, despite the fact a significant number of those appearances have been off the bench, and I'm not sure Jesus quite gets the credit that he deserves. 24. Serge Gnabry. It's a tightly fought contest at the age of 24 between three enormously talented Germans, Leroy Sané, Serge Gnabry, and Timo Werner. Following an ACL injury in the Community Shield curtain opener at the start of this season, Sané hasn't played all season, but prior to that, he had been among the outstanding wide men in the Premier League for 2 seasons. Timo Werner is a sheer goal machine, having bagged 21 goals in 25 games in the Bundesliga this season, but my choice is Serge Gnabry. The former West Bromwich Albion loanee won Bayern Munich's Player of the Year award last season, and he has been significantly more impressive this season, having scored 28 goals in all competitions for both club and country, as well as making 11 assists. Things may have been different had Sané not suffered that injury almost 9 months ago, but Gnabry gets my vote for now. 25. Raheem Sterling. A Manchester City winger may miss out at the age of 24, but Raheem Sterling ensures that the citizens are represented in this video at 25. Sterling was in his worst patch of form for a couple of years when the current Premier League season was suspended, but he's still on 20 goals for the season. It speaks volumes about the Englishman's progress under Pep Guardiola that a season in which he has scored 20 goals in 39 games has been considered below par by some. A resilient and determined wide man who has shrugged off significant and often unfair criticism since a young age, Sterling is now among the most dangerous wide men in world football, and he was the obvious choice at 25. 26. Harry Kane. Honourable mentions must go to Romelu Lukaku and Paulo Dybala at the age of 26, both of whom have had excellent seasons, certainly better than Kane's. That is only because the Englishman has had a string of injury problems, and when fit, Tottenham's talisman has still bagged 17 goals in 25 games. That's a sensational output, but no less than we've come to expect from Kane, who is among the most consistent and dead-eyed centre-forwards on the planet. Unmoved by big occasions, goal droughts, or world-class opposition, Kane just loves to score goals, and there are few better at finding the back of the net than the 26-year-old. 27. Mohammed Salah. There are a few candidates at the age of 27, from Tottenham favourite Son Heung-min to prolific PSG loanee Mauro Icardi. Both are fantastic footballers who wouldn't look at all out of place in this video, but I can't look beyond Mohammed Salah. A little like Raheem Sterling, it speaks volumes about the incredible standard Salah has set that a season in which he has scored 20 goals in 40 games from the right flank is considered par for the course. Quick, smart, and lethal on his favoured left foot, Salah has bagged 91 goals in 144 games for Liverpool, and while the standard of his debut campaign was impossible to maintain, he has continued to be among the most dangerous forward players in the world. 28. Neymar. Mohamed Salah features at the age of 27, whilst his 2 forward partners at Liverpool, Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino, are both aged 28. Very different, but equally brilliant, there will be those who claim that either Mane, Firmino or both are better than Neymar, but those people are wrong. Neymar appears to have become one of the most disliked and subsequently most underrated footballers on earth since his world record breaking move to PSG, and the transfer has, as of yet, failed to see him guide the Parisians to a Champions League or win a Ballon d'Or. That does not mean Neymar has regressed as a footballer, however. In fact, he has arguably been even better in France than he was in Spain. The Brazilian perhaps lacks the single-minded drive and discipline of Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, but he is a ridiculously talented and effective footballer, and he's still among the 5 best players on earth, in my personal opinion. 29. Eden Hazard. It's a tricky decision at the age of 29 between 2 footballers who made big money moves to Spanish giants last summer off the back of a number of seasons of outstanding form. Eden Hazard has been even more underwhelming for Real Madrid than Antoine Griezmann has been for Barcelona, but I still think the Belgian is the better footballer. Hazard lit up the Premier League for 7 seasons with Chelsea, winning the Blues Player of the Year award 4 times. Injuries have restricted Hazard to just 15 appearances this season, and he has made scarce impact in those 15 games, but that doesn't change the fact that he is an incredibly gifted player and one of the best dribblers of a ball on earth. Plenty of players have had difficult debut campaigns at the Bernabeu, and you wouldn't bet against Hazard turning his fortunes around whenever football returns. 30. Gareth Bale. I said 18 might be the most fiercely debated age down in the comments, but among non-Arsenal and Manchester United fans, it may well be 30. Gareth Bale, Ciro Immobile and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang are all aged 30, and all bring different pros and cons to the table. I think Bale is the most talented, Immobile is certainly the one in the finest form, and Aubameyang falls somewhere between the two. Very good cases could be made for all three, although it was a question of Aubameyang versus Bale as far as I was concerned. At his best, Bale is world class, a real match winner, and prior to a string of injuries a couple of years back, most people would have put him in that bracket of player just below Messi and Ronaldo. It's a difficult decision, and plenty will disagree, but I've gone for Bale, like Hazard, in spite of a difficult season. 31. Robert Lewandowski. The two best out-and-out centre-forwards on earth right now, one could argue, are both aged 31, namely Sergio Aguero and Robert Lewandowski. If you'd have asked me to pick one of them at various stages over the last 10 years, I would have flip-flopped my decision, but right now, I can't overlook Lewandowski. Aguero has scored 254 goals in 368 games since joining Man City in 2011, whilst Lewandowski has bagged 230 goals in 270 games since arriving in Bavaria back in 2014. Aguero is explosive, virtually unplayable on his day, and much more complete since working under Pep Guardiola. Lewandowski is relentlessly consistent, elegant in possession, and capable of scoring every type of goal conceivable. I wouldn't argue with anyone who picks Aguero, but Lewandowski was enjoying the best season of his career with 39 goals in 33 games prior to the Bundesliga season being suspended, and he gets my vote. 32. Lionel Messi. Former Real Madrid teammates Karim Benzema and Gonzalo Higuain deserve the briefest of honourable mentions at the age of 32, where there was only ever going to be one winner. Lionel Messi has played as a right winger, a number 10, and as a centre forward throughout the course of his glittering career. Over the last couple of years, Messi has dropped increasingly deeper on the pitch, looking to get hold of the ball a bit earlier and impact games from deep. I still think forward is just about the right categorisation for him though, and his numbers in terms of goals are certainly still reflective of a forward. Messi has scored 24 goals in 31 games this season, in what many would consider a poor campaign, having bagged 51 goals in 50 games last season. He tops the La Liga assist charts once again this season, as he does virtually every season, with almost double the number of assists of any other player. 33. Luis Suarez. Speaking of La Liga assists, the man who trails Lionel Messi, despite having missed much of this season through injury, is Luis Suarez. Suarez is no longer of his absolute finest 2013 to 2017 vintage, an era which included a 59-goal season, better than either Messi or Ronaldo that term, but he's still one of the world's best centre-forwards. Despite having only registered 17 league appearances this season, Suarez ranks 3rd in the La Liga scoring charts, and, as mentioned, 2nd for assists. Suarez is one of a number of players currently being linked with David Beckham's MLS franchise Inter Miami, but he could still play for another season at least at the very highest level should he wish to do so. Honourable mentions go to Leicester City legend Jamie Vardy and PSG's all-time record goalscorer Edinson Cavani. 34. Edin Dzeko. Former Manchester City striker Edin Dzeko was wise in 2015 when he realised that the best late bloomers and centre-forwards with the greatest longevity often seem to be found in Serie A. Dzeko joined Roma at the age of 30 and he has become another in that long line. Tall, powerful and intelligent with his movement, Dzeko has enjoyed the most prolific campaign of his career in the Italian capital. He's also scored 15 goals in 32 games before the current campaign was halted, and I think he's a bit of a no-brainer at the age of 34. 35. Cristiano Ronaldo. When you look at the other possible candidates at the age of 35, with all due respect to them, it is a timely reminder of just how incredible Cristiano Ronaldo's performance levels this late in his career really are. Ronaldo's first season in Turin would have been excellent by most player standards, but it was Ronaldo's worst since his final season at Manchester United, more than a decade ago. Despite being a year older, this season had been even more impressive, with the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner having bagged 25 goals in 32 games. Ronaldo is arguably still the most decisive and one of the finest footballers in the world, and he was a very easy pick at 35. 36. Paolo Guerrero. This forwards video is stronger than any of the other three in terms of the strength from top to bottom, and even at the age of 36, there are two excellent candidates in Paolo Guerrero and Klaas-Jan Huntelaar. Soon to turn 37, Huntelaar is still doing what he does best, having bagged 46 goals in 107 games since his Ajax return in 2017. Paolo Guerrero was a lot less prolific than Huntelaar at their respective peaks, but his form since turning 30 has been sensational. The former Bayern and Hamburg man hit 18 in the 2016 season, 20 in the 2017 season, but then missed most of the 2018 campaign through injury. Peru's all-time record goal scorer, and still their captain now, Guerrero joined Internacional in August 2018, and the veteran marksman struck 20 times in just 41 games for the club in his debut campaign last season. 37. Franck Ribéry. There aren't a plethora of options at the age of 37, but there is one man that stands out, and that's Franck Ribéry. A world-class winger at his best, Ribéry was once tipped to be Zinedine Zidane's replacement in the French national team. Ribéry's international career ended up being a bit of a damp squib, and he was long gone by the time the team won the 2018 World Cup, but his club career certainly hasn't disappointed. During 12 seasons with Bayern Munich, Ribéry won 23 trophies, making the Ballon d'Or podium in 2013. Brilliant on the ball, consistently among the most creative wide players on the planet, and capable of chipping in with a goal or two himself, Ribéry's best days are of course behind him, but he joined Fiorentina last summer, and I think he's still my best bet at 37. 38. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Just as Cristiano Ronaldo's performance levels at the age of 35 are remarkable, so too are Zlatan Ibrahimovic's at 38. Whilst an almost middle-aged man thinking he's a lion is a bit weird, one cannot deny Ibrahimovic's athleticism and powers of recovery are mightily impressive. The ligament damage Ibrahimovic suffered at Manchester United in 2017 would have ended the career of many players in their mid-30s, but true to form, Zlatan has had a remarkable renaissance. He scored 53 goals in just 58 games during a couple of seasons in the United States, before returning to Europe with his former club AC Milan. The Rossoneri have been crisis-ridden pretty much since Ibrahimovic left the club, and it speaks volumes about both their plight and also Ibrahimovic's talents that he could still be viewed as a saviour at the age of 38. 39. ARITZ. One of football's truly great late bloomers, it would be remiss of me not to concede that ARITZ hasn't been particularly prolific over the last couple of years, but that doesn't mean he isn't still effective. The best years of the athletic Bilbao legend's career came during his mid-30s, most notably in the 2015-16 season when he bagged a sensational 36 goals in 55 games. The powerful Basque native is an excellent target man, but he is no longer posting those kind of numbers. Despite the fact he had only scored once this season before the current suspension, Adores is still my choice at 39. 40. Carlos Salcedo. There has to be a slight drop-off in class the closer you get to 40, and no doubt the final inclusion in this video is not as well known as Zlatan Ibrahimovic or ARITZ. Carlos Salcedo has never played in Europe, meaning he's unlikely to be familiar with most of our subscribers, but his longevity is quite extraordinary. A former Bolivian international, Salcedo has played his football in Bolivia, Colombia, and Costa Rica. In 2017, aged 37, Salcedo joined Bolivian Primera Division title challenger San Jose, and he has been in stunning form ever since. Salcedo has scored 62 goals in 83 games for the club, and he is still among the division's top scorers, even at the age of 40. That's it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Do give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and obviously, feel free to subscribe to HITC Sevens.